Last April, because of the work of many again here, we've developed a Utah Sage Grouse plan. And I signed that. It was not just a kind of an afterthought. It was something after many months and a year of intense work with people coming together and saying, here's what we think will be a plan to preserve the habitat and the sage grouse. And I signed that. The objective, or it was objective-based, it was scientifically supported plan. It requires some sacrifice from all stakeholders, but making commitments to avoid having the sage grouse listed under the Endangered Species Act. It allowed citizens and industry to continue to work together and prosper and to grow our economy responsibly. It also protects the private lands and the private property rights and established a reasonable framework for protection of the birds on public lands at the same time. And again, we recognize the need to have multiple use of our public lands, which has been a staple for Utah's attitude towards this, although the federal government seems to be getting away from the multiple use aspect of our public lands. So this plan was not mere window dressing. It was really a plan designed to give us a positive outcome, a positive result. And it's a good plan, and that's why I'm so extremely disappointed. After all that work by many people coming together at the table, that the response from the Fish and Wildlife Service was they didn't like it and we're going to take control over the sage grouse. I think that is wrong-headed and really the wrong direction to go. Again, I believe in working together and coming together on some common ground here, but disappointed that after so many months and a year, over a year of work, that we're just rejected out of hand. The other thing that makes me a little disappointed is that it runs counter to what we were told by the Department of Interior and what they were wanting to do. I worked very closely with Secretary of Interior Ken Salazar, who's a good guy. We've done some really good things under his watch. I expect we'll do some really good things under Sally Jewell's watch. But in December of 2011, Secretary Salazar clearly stated that state-written conservation plans were the preferred method of protecting the sage grouse. State-written conservation plans were the preferred method of protecting the sage grouse, and that the federal agencies pledged would in fact work collaboratively with us in developing those state plans.
Well, they're concerned about this. Obviously, the grazing plays a real big part in Sevier County, Wayne County, Paiute County. We don't want that to be a hindrance to the agricultural and the grazing upon the federal grounds. As we do a lot of these studies, we're finding out that the grazing actually enhances the habitat for the sage grouse and makes it a positive thing. A lot of these leks, that's where the mating goes on for these sage grouse. The lek is actually happening out where the salt rock is placed on the range, and so it's a benefit in that regard as well. But yeah, they're concerned that this list, what does it impact us going forward for the disturbances, various things, obviously power lines, fences, anything to do with things that we have on the public lands. Well, I think you certainly got to have some kind of a mitigation. You're not going to know up front where these lines are going to go. We've got to be able to identify these areas and for future use. So, we need to consider all of these things as these plans are put in place. So it's going to have to be private entities that would have to come up to that. The counties don't have a lot of money. Very few counties have any money to do these kind of studies. Sevier County is a really pretty good, healthy county right now. We're certainly always looking to increase our economic base and try to enhance that. Small growth. We don't want large growth. We want small growth, but you always need to have a little bit of growth in your community.
Yeah, well, certainly creates an opportunity. It's a challenge as well to be able to deal with federal agencies, state, counties, and a whole host of citizens. But I think the challenge is that how do we work together? The opportunity is that the more minds that we can put to solve this issue, the more likely we'll come with the more proper solution for sage grouse. And so what I'm excited about is that while it is a challenge to work with all as many groups, I think that we have an opportunity to extract from the best minds out there what the proper answer is for the state of Utah. Well, by law, we have to take some lead. For example, we have to involve the public. And by our law, we have to involve the state. And that we have to have a consistency between us and the state. And by law, we also have to be consistent with counties. And so we do have to take that into account as we move forward to create a plan that is suitable for Utah. Yeah, our goal is that we would have our final plan for sage grouse for the state of Utah, at least for the BLM lands, sometime at the end of September. But then the final decision, which we call record decision, would not be signed until about December of this year. And though when we arrive at the final plan for the BLM in this case, I'll sign the record decision for the BLM, and they'll be the only signatory to that plan. And for the Forest Service, it'll be the regional forester for the Forest Service that'll sign that plan for the Forest Service. There has to be a lot of meetings, a lot of conversations, a lot of dialogue. But I think that's good. I mean, that's good that we have all these conversations, because the more people that are involved, the more chances we have of being able to protect sage grouse.